So hi, I'm Rachel Bolstad. I'm here chatting today with Campbell Potter about some stuff that's been happening since the Games for Learning conference. So hi Campbell, how are you?
Good. How are you, Rachel? You going well?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. So Campbell, you were a presenter at the Games for Learning conference. Can you just tell us briefly what it was that you were presenting about?
The topic I was presenting about and I've been working on recently is citizenship through social studies. And it's one of the big things which I really like to teach and see develop in the students is the ability to engage their citizenship. And the games link is through Minecraft. So I was using Minecraft as a kind of like a community simulator for students to go in and interact with each other in a simulated environment and then be able to reflect on that and develop their citizenship skills.
So did you get some good feedback from other people at the conference, and what sort of things were they interested in from your own examples and experience that you were sharing?
Well, there's kind of two questions that people always have. And the one that people are always interested in is what you use it for. And I think that was really cool for some people to see Minecraft used in a bit of a different way than what is often portrayed, which is sort of more basic artistic or creative or storytelling or measurement sort of stuff. So people were quite interested in that and exploring the ideas of interpersonal relationships through online games. And the other side that people are always interested in as well, can I actually do it logistically? You know, what's the setup, what's the formats, what's the platforms, what's the costs, what accounts do I need, all that sort of stuff, which is always several barriers to get past before you can even really get into the learning outcome sort of stuff. Yeah.
Have you had any teachers staying in touch with you since the conference? Have you any insight into ideas that maybe people have picked up or are trying, or are you still getting questions?
Yeah, there's one guy I've stayed in touch with in Topor, and he has since done a Minecraft, used Minecraft as part of an integrated unit, and their goal was to redesign their library space at their school, which I think is also a community space. So there's lots of different people to engage and talk with, and they use the Minecraft creative side as a way of remodeling and portraying their ideas. And I thought that was a really cool, genuine use of Minecraft and recreating and creating your ideas for what a new space could look like. So I thought that was a pretty good idea. I haven't heard how that's ended up yet. It was in the middle of it last time I spoke to him about it. Yeah, that was a cool follow-up.
Yeah, well, speaking of follow-ups, after the conference, we decided we were going to test out this idea of having online meetings to see if it was a useful way to stay connected and share ideas. And you took part in that first online meeting we had maybe about a month ago. And it has inspired you to kick off a new little initiative. Can you tell us a bit about that idea and what's been happening?
Yeah, so for the last little while, I've felt that the internet is a fantastic tool that can really allow some deep and meaningful connection and collaboration across people who don't share the same space. I've had really good conversations with my colleagues and the people I work with, and they get me excited and fired up about stuff. And I've also had that same experience at conferences like Games for Learning conference, and where I meet other educators who are also excited and passionate about doing things differently and just sort of breaking the mold, so to speak, is what I get excited about. And I've felt for a long time that the internet there is a way on the internet to make that happen more regularly as a part of your practice, as opposed to these expensive conferences or just within your own group. And so when I was at this online meeting with the Games for Learning stuff, we broke into a small group. There was about 6 of us, I think, and we started talking about and ideating on one person's practice and a unit that they had coming up, or theme I've just started, which was about introducing games in the classroom, appropriately enough. But it made me start thinking that the way I felt in that conversation was what I was what I was aiming for, and is what I could see as the potential, that connection with people through the internet without having to be standing next to them. And so from that, I thought, what's a structure that we could try a format to try and make this happen more regularly? and which is what I've started calling a mini conference, but it's basically working on numbers, but less than 10 people coming together in a small online meeting room. And most people are, well, there's one person to host, one person's a topic bringer. So that's the person who'll bring what you're going to discuss or talk about. And so far I've done 2, and they've been focused on something that's been happening in their classroom. So a unit, for example, so that's some sort of work they've been doing with the students. And that's been really good because it's been tangible, and we can, it's really tangible and easy to see. And then everyone else is there as a contributor, and they're there to question and challenge, gently, because we've got to make a safe space, but to probe and ask questions, to give ideas, give advice, share experience, tell stories. And I really hope and can see that it, as a topic bringer, it's a really tough place to be, because you're putting your work out on the table, and it's quite vulnerable. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, the potential for new perspectives, for opening your mind, for going in different directions is quite big if you're prepared to put yourself out there on the line. And then as a contributor, it's a chance to give back, or to share what you know and your expertise, or at the same time to have your mind blown a little bit as well, and have come from different perspectives, or got new ideas or different ideas. And the last thing I think about the contributor role I want to say is I think everybody has something to contribute, because it's not about an expert standing up and talking. It's about discussing what's going on. And often if you're not an expert in an area, or you're a first year or a trainee teacher, sometimes you have the most wonderful perspective on something because you have no idea. And the questions you can ask can be really enlightening and valuable for those that have been doing it for a long time and are stuck in a rut perhaps, or their blinkers are on because they've shut out the other connections and links. So everyone has something to contribute in these sort of forums. I think it's quite cool.
So it's sort of an online equivalent of perhaps going into a room at a conference with a small group and sitting around a table, thrashing around an idea or something that someone wants to do in their classroom, and maybe needs a bit of a sounding board or some suggestions.
Yeah, absolutely. It's put it exactly down like that. I can imagine I have had experiences like that at different conferences where you sit down and you've been given something to talk about, or there is something from the group to talk about, and you're kind of bouncing off ideas and sharing it around. And in this iteration at the moment, it's about one person is bringing their topic, and that gives us something to talk about. But I think the focus of it could be a lot of different things. I was actually just talking to one of my other colleagues I work with today about he's doing his master's in, I think it's educational leadership today at the moment, and he'll be working on it next year. And I suggested the idea to him of bringing one of his assignments to a mini conference and putting it on the table as he starts it, just to see other people's perspectives and kind of what ideas other people might have around this, around what he's working on, and could give him something he hadn't thought of before to add in direction with his assignment. So who knows where that topic stuff could go.
Yeah, so what sort of topics have you had so far in the mini conferences that you've been trialling?
So the 2 topics we've had so far, first one was about implementing game-based learning with year 4 to 6-year-olds in a thematic topic over a term. So the topic was communication, and it was really about how do I get my year 4 to 6-year-olds into game design and working on developing games. And that was a really good topic. There's some really good people in the room for that. And the second one was on sustainability. So the teacher brought the idea of doing a sustainable an action to do with a local sustainable issue, and then they were creating websites to portray what they'd done, and tell the story essentially. And there was a big student agency and autonomous self-directedness in this unit. So he has a really good discussion around student motivation and desire and choice, and how much they're capable of at different years. And I think she was working with year 9s at that level. And so I think she just finished one of those units, and they were going to do it again. So they were kind of like in the reflective phase and looking forward. So there's some really good discussion around those topics there.
Sounds great. So if somebody wanted to get involved in one of these mini conferences or wanted to bring a topic, how would they do that? How do they get started?
Well, at the moment, it's new. It's pretty new. I'm creating a mailing list, and it's all going to be driven through email initially. And if it gains a lot of traction, will make something a bit more formal and organised. But for now, in February next year, in 2018, planning on promoting this a bit more and getting people's ideas and thoughts out there. And what we're really going to need is topic bringers. People are prepared to bring something for people to talk about. And once that happens, the topic bringer can put the topic in and the time that they want to do it. It's only half an hour. That's something I haven't mentioned. It's short and sharp, small and purposeful, I think is what's good, and just to spark some ideas. And so 30 minutes, you can choose the time, you choose the topic, and we send the email out to the mailing list, and the first 8 people who reply are in. And then we do it and create a Google Slides that goes along with it. And people can introduce themselves and put notes down or any links. And then there's a bit of a record afterwards. But it's all going to be driven through email. But topic bringers, I think, is going to be the key. If people want to do this, then it's going to be hard to be a contributor without people who want to get some feedback and ideas on what they're doing in their practice.
Yeah, I was just thinking, perhaps if people participate in one and sort of see how it all works, it will spark some ideas, and perhaps people that have contributed to one session might think of an idea or something that they'd like to bring for a subsequent session. Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay. That sounds awesome, Campbell. So just bringing it back to, I guess, the Games for Learning stuff that we kind of kicked off with. Just thinking back over your big learnings this year, what do you think have been, when it comes to games and game design for learning, what's kind of on top for you, or what have been the big takeaways for you this year?
Well, I guess there's 2 things that come to mind initially. The first one is game design and the concept of game design. I've done a lot of work this year with design thinking and iterative processes. More in a much broader sense than just games. And seeing at the Games for Learning conference and the follow-up conversations I've had with people about game design, I think there's a lot of potential for engagement and purpose and game design specifically. That's something I'd like to explore in the future. And the other one is the idea of, which is what I've been doing with Minecraft stuff, is using literally games for learning. And I really like the idea of using a game that has been designed by game developers as a game, as opposed to a game that's been designed for learning, and then trying to align the two. So a game that's designed for fun and playability and enjoyment, and then linking that with learning. And the big challenge with that I've found is getting the right amount of structure and facilitation as a teacher, so that you can facilitate that learning and evidence that learning without killing the fun and engagement and flow of the game.
So are there any resources or sources or readings or anything that have kind of helped you in your own process, or is it something that you've really kind of developed through your own experimentation and reflection and learning?
My big resource is people, I think. I do really well when I have people to challenge me and to question me. I've been really fortunate this year to be working quite closely with a couple of other teachers in a collaborative environment, and we've developed a super strong and positive yet critical relationship, professionally critical relationship. And so those guys have been really, I think, key to my development of this process, as well as the support from my curriculum, the head of curriculum, academic head here. That's been really good to have that support. And also the people I've met, particularly since the middle of the year Games for Learning, and the conversations I've had since then, that's where I get a lot of my inspiration and support. It's that professional learning network of people talk about it all the time, but it's like investing. The more you invest in it, the better it gets and the more rich it grows. And I feel like that's really flourished for me this year.
And it's great to see you're kind of like paying that forward, I guess, with your efforts to get this online mini conferencing initiative up and running. And So thanks a lot, Campbell. It's been great to check in with you, and I'm sure we're going to hear a lot more from you over the coming years, both in terms of teacher professional learning and games for learning.
Thank you very much, Rachel. It's an honour and a pleasure to talk with you and to share what's going on. It's great.